Right. Okay. So, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Uh, um, what I could ask you because you're going to be hearing my voice a lot. So, I could ask you what you expect to get, what you want from this. Doesn't mean you'll get it, but just curious. Just start. Just go around.
Well, I have learned a lot from you, Tom. And although there are times that I need to, do other things, this is still my passion. And when I think of my passion, I still think of Tom because I learned a lot from you. So I'm here whenever I get the chance to.
Okay, that's good. How about you, Chris? Anything bubbling to the surface there?
Oh goodness. Well, uh, part of my interest tonight is getting to play with improvisers I haven't played with before. So a win on all counts, as these are all new faces. Um, yeah, just wanna do some committed, very much in the moment, listen and react improv.
Well, you're in the right place for that. How about you, Nish?
I just want to really up my improv game. um, I feel like there are a lot of techniques that I need to absorb and kind of internalize and let it see come out in the scenes and things. So yeah, I'm just eager to be a sponge and soak up as much as I can.
Okay. I mean, you are aware, of course, you're not. You're smart people, so you are aware that anything that I tell you, anything that we do, is simply one approach to things, and that I'm not going to tell you that because I do things this way or whatever way that whatever way you already know is wrong. It probably is wrong, but just kidding. So you learn, you work on stuff, but it doesn't need to replace the stuff that you already know. Just add it to your toolbox. How about you, Bai?
I'm expecting actually uh, activities that will help me to improve in acting, especially in improv. Because when we say improv, it's actually in the moment, and you just have to be, react from your co-actor, and whatever happens, that's it. And I'm looking forward to whatever happens today, because this is my first time with you, Tom, and
Oh, sure,
I thank Andy for inviting me here.
sure.
So I'm really looking forward to work with the other ladies here, like Ella, Chris, and Nish. So yeah,
Okay,
let's make it, fun.
okay. So then let's, if you don't mind, Ella, go over a couple of basic things. When I teach the stuff in person in classes every week, we always go back to basic stuff. Always, we just keep hammering it in because a lot of, at least the stuff that I find to be very basic, is not stuff that is necessarily intuitive. It's not something that we would normally do. It doesn't. And many of us have been taught improv one way, and I kind of focus on a different approach. I come at it from a slightly different angle. So to do that, I guess I'm apologizing ahead of time if I go over stuff that seems basic before we start doing scenes, and we will do scenes, particularly since there are only four of you here. You get more time to do stuff. So, first thing that I talk about, and I'm not going to go over a lot of basic stuff, but just a few things. Stuff that you probably already know. One, I'll just go through it. one when we talk about improv, we're often thinking about comedy. That's what it is, and it is. I mean, it does 90% of the time turn into that, and that's what it is. But improv is the kind of comedy that where you don't have to try to be funny. And so we talk about things. I use metaphors a lot, and one of the metaphors I use is cake. If you could see me from here down, you'd see that I use that metaphor a lot. But so for me, if I ask you what are some ingredients of just basic cake, what would you say? Just shout a couple of them out.
Flour.
Eggs,
Yeah.
butter.
Yeah, right. That stuff, right. Yeah. So, but none of those things on their own look or feel or taste like cake. So the only time they become cake is when you put them together a certain way, pop them in the oven, and 25 minutes later, cake happens. Cake. What is not an ingredient of cake is cake. In other words, you don't use cake to make cake. It's all these non-cake things that turn into cake if you do it right. And the beauty of that is that every single time you do it, it works. It's hard to screw it up. It just works. You do this, cake happens. You do it, cake happens today, tomorrow, next week. The same is true of comedy. These are some elements of comedy: anger, pathos, drama, misunderstanding, injury, despair, whatever. These things are part of what makes comedy comedy. The one ingredient that is really not an ingredient of comedy is comedy, just like cake is not an ingredient of cake. These things on their own don't look like comedy, but when you put them together the right way, 25 minutes later, you've got comedy every single time if you do it a certain way. So it's not like stand-up comedy. It's not about what's the funniest thing I can think of, what's the cleverest thing I can think of right now. It really is about, as you've all seemed to say, being in the moment, being spontaneous. But there's all different kinds of spontaneous. I'll throw, and the one thing that we do not want to put in our improv comedy is this: plot. Even if we're doing narratives, even if we're doing stories, even our scenes are stories, but we don't want to be bogged down by trying to come up with a plot, particularly at the beginning of what we're doing. Not because it's morally offensive, it's just because it's not possible. You can't do it. If you and I start a scene together, I don't know what your idea is for this entire scene. You don't know what mine is. So if I'm worried about the plot, what's going to happen is I'm going to start manipulating the scene and start talking and narrating what I think is going to happen. Well, if Grandma sells the candy store, we can buy that car, and if we have the car, then we can move to Texas, and they're waiting for us in Texas. I've got that job lined up, and your sister is she's probably. Who cares? Who cares? That's plot. Who cares? Nobody. So how do you avoid it? You avoid it by doing the things that you can do, and by not worrying about the things that you can't do. It's not that you can't do it. You're not good enough to do it. It can't be done. So throw it out. Get rid of the idea of plot. Get it out of your head. If you do things correctly, just like with cake and just like with comedy, if you do things correctly, plot happens. bakes and there it is, and my God, you're just as surprised as everybody else is. But you don't have to actually worry about it. The only time to really think about it is about 2/3 of the way through whatever it is you're doing. You can start to see it. So here's the thing here's the actual basis of what I like to do. And Ellie, you've heard me say this a dozen times or so, and I'm sorry. It's 1, randomness, 2, chaos, and 3, order. Randomness and chaos are different. They're not the same. They're completely different things. Randomness is, as I've said before, a lottery ticket, flipping a coin. That's random. There's no chain of events. There's no, cause and effect. It's just random. And humans are not very good at randomness. We're just not. We process everything. So even when we're being random, it's still not really random compared to a machine or a computer. Chaos is not random. Chaos is a bunch of things that are all happening, and they are connected. But there's so many things floating around that it's tough to see the connections, like the weather, like hurricanes or typhoons or whatever. Where's the hurricane going to go? We don't know exactly. We can kind of predict. And once it gets there, well, we can see how it got there. Okay, fine. It's just a lot of information, but then you can make some order out of it. Okay, how do we evacuate? Where do we go? So you can create order from it. It's the same thing in improv scenes. You start off with randomness. Why? Because what choice do you have? Embrace it. Embrace the idea that you're starting off by doing things and not knowing why you're doing them. Just do them. Just say a thing, or don't say a thing, or be louder, or be softer, or be closer or farther, or be quicker when you talk, or less, or do dynamic things that are for no reason. Don't wait for a reason. Just do things. The reason happens. The reason comes later. You'll do a thing, and then the reason will emerge. It's very difficult to get people to see that. And the beauty of it is that when you do it, the audience doesn't see it. They don't know. They don't know you're doing that. They can't imagine anyone could walk onto a stage and start doing something and not knowing why they're doing it. So they think you've got a plan. And as it turns out, it all works out just fine. And they think you planned it right from the start, but you know you didn't. So you do random at first. Words, motions, emotions, whatever, randomness. Then what happens is chaos. Is a lot of things are floating around. You've put them there and now they're floating around. At some point, it's going to start to solidify. It's going to start to make sense to one of you and maybe both of you, and you're going to see it, and it's going to get clearer. It's like each of you has a pen, and you're putting a dot in a place, and he's putting a dot, and you're putting a dot, and you're putting a dot, and you don't know why. And then eventually someone looks at it and thinks, if I connect these dots, it's a horse. Yeah, it's a horse. And so now you know where you're going to put the dots, and then you and the audience start to connect them. And then when the horse is done, the audience thinks, my God, how did they know that they were going to draw a horse? That's the way good improv, grounded improv scenes work. What do I mean, Ella, by grounded?
You actually believe the character.
Mm-hmm. Right. That we believe what the character is saying or doing. That somebody isn't just saying something to be funny or to get a laugh or because they're nervous and they feel like they have to say something. That we believe the character. The character could be doing things that are pretty weird, but if the character believes them, then that's fine. If they're playing it seriously, playing it straight, then any weird situation can be a grounded scene if the characters believe the scene they're in. And you can tell. You can always tell if the actors, if you're watching actors or if you're watching characters. Any questions so far? And then we'll get into one or two more things, and then I swear I'll shut up and we'll do scenes. Any thoughts? Anybody?
Oh, I've just been noting this down. This is great. I really like the cake thing.
Oh,
I'm gonna
yeah.
tell my friends about it. I really like the line, "My God, how did they know they were going to draw a horse?" Gonna
Yeah.
tell people about that too. No, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll give you an example. I was in a scene, a narrative, a couple of nights ago. There were about 6 of us, and we were doing scene after scene after scene to tell a kind of a story, I guess. And we don't know what the story's going to be. So, in my first scene, which was the second scene of the piece, I'm sitting there with a woman that I know, I guess. We're watching TV, and I'm saying something about what's on TV. I say just out of the top of my head, for no reason. I don't know why Ethan Hawke isn't a more respected actor. He's really great. And we start talking about that, and then it goes on to something else. And then the next scene, it turns out that someone else is getting married. She's marrying this person, but he's much older. And we never meet the person she's marrying. He's much older. Does he have a lot of money at least? Blah, 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 blah. And this whole, it was a lot of fun, and this whole thing. And then it turned out that the guy died before she got to marry him. And that she didn't know what to do. And so in what turned out to be the last scene, I'm sitting there, and I know this because I know the guy or something like that. And we were talking, and we're watching TV again, the same 2 people. And she's saying, yeah, I hear he died and blah, 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 and they're not going to get married. And my response was, yeah. And you know what? It's so hard to believe. It's so hard to believe that Ethan Hawke has never won an Academy Award. End of everything. End of done, finished. Now, why did I say that? Because it was there. Because that was a shiny object. That was a thing that was floating around. It was in the air. It had been said 15, 20 minutes before. So why say it then? A, because it's obviously a button. It's clearly the tech person knows that's the end. Bang. Big response and all that. I couldn't have used that if it wasn't there in the first place. But when I put it there in the first place, there was no reason for it. I didn't put anything anywhere. I mean, it just was there. It was just absolute random bullshit. So to us on the stage, we saw how it worked. That it was unintentional, and then it became intentional. In the audience, they didn't see any of that. They just said, oh my God, how did they foreshadow that like that? Oh my God, it's astonishing. Because it would never occur to them that there was no reason for doing it. The reason comes later. You put toys in the playpen. And then later, when you're looking for something to play with, there's the toy. Because you put it there. Why? To put it there. You don't need to know why. So, any thoughts about that idea? That sort of concept of doing things?
Yes, maybe one. Is there such a thing as putting too many things out there? Like, what's a good handle on that?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think there is such a thing as too many because the fact that somebody puts a lot of things in is in itself a thing. The fact that the fact that the character does that tells you something about the character. So later on, they're going to do too much of something else. So it's not. It's never just a particular thing. It could have been anything. I could have accidentally dropped the remote control and not have been able to find it in the couch, and then at the end, that could have been the thing. Who knows? But there was no planning. It was just sat down. The first thing that came to my mind was Ethan Hawke. Why? I don't know. So that's what I'm talking about. To do things backwards. In life, something happens which causes us to feel something, which causes us to show an emotion in some way, and or say something. In improv, we show an emotion and or say something first, which causes us to feel something, which causes us to do and say something. It's backwards. But the audience doesn't see that. The audience sees all the pieces, but they don't realize that it's been put in backwards. So we don't do cause and effect. We do effect, cause, which then leads us to a bigger effect. And halfway or 2/3 of the way through a scene or a piece, that's when you start looking to see, okay, what's floating around? What have we done? What have we said that's floating around? We need something. I don't need to grab something out of the sky when there's something here. We've got things floating around because we put them there. Let's use those. It's just a slightly different, I think, approach to how to do scenes. We don't worry so much about the who, what, where necessarily. We don't worry so much about a lot of those things. We just do stuff, and then we remember it. We pay attention. You develop radar. Someone else other than me could have done a scene at the end and said something about Ethan Hawke. Well, it didn't have to be me. Someone else could have done that because that's floating around, and someone else's radar could have picked that up early and said, I'm going to use that if I get a chance. So that's the kind of strategy, that's the kind of game we're doing, as far as I'm concerned, particularly with narrative style improv, where it's at least a story within a scene. That's it. So, any thoughts, and then we'll start. Any other thoughts, and we'll start doing some stuff.
Just one thing. Could you repeat that? You said you start out doing something, then you feel something, and then...
Yes. For instance, you and I are in a scene, and for no reason I start yelling. Now, that's going to make me and you feel a certain thing, which is, or for some reason, I talk over you. We talk over each other, which is perfectly fine, by the way. If they tell you not to do that in improv class, take a different class. Or you talk to me and I walk away from you as you're talking. Why did I walk away from you? For no damn reason. I didn't have a reason. I'm generating a reason by doing that. And I don't know what it's going to be. Whatever we do, whatever we say, if you say something and I just answer in a different way than you're expecting or whatever, that is going to make you and me both feel something, and that is going to make something happen. And then we're going to address that, and it's just going to be this snowball that just keeps getting bigger and bigger. But snowball's got to start from somewhere. You got to start it with a snowball, and you got to push it. So to wait around for something to happen that you can react to, there's no time for that. That's why people, when people act that way in improv scenes, that's why a lot of improv scenes start with, so how you doing? I don't know, how you doing? I'm okay. Or they start with, I'd like that pair of shoes, please. Okay. What size? 8.5. Oh, okay, I got those. I'll get those in the back. You have them in blue? Yeah. Uh,
Flat.
so when that happens, that's two people dancing around waiting for a scene to happen. We all know that in any improv scene, all improv scenes, all good ones, start in the middle. They all start with something. Something's already going on. We don't want to see the moment where two people first meet at the beginning of a scene, because they have nothing. There's nothing at stake between them. We don't care. It's dull. How are you? I'm fine. How are you? What do you do for a living? What? Yeah, I'm glad I paid $25 to hear that. So the rule of thumb, at least at my theater, is if you're in unless there's a real reason for it, if you're in a scene with some other character, you've known each other for at least 6 months and you've got something. And if somebody says sir or ma'am to you, excuse me, sir, if someone sirs or ma'ams me in a scene and says, excuse me, sir, what kind of bread do you sell? My response is always going to be something like, Steve Phillips from chemistry class? Mrs. Johnson's chemistry class? It's Todd! Todd? Great. I'm always going to remind them that we know each other, because nobody wants to see a transaction.
Yeah.
We don't care. And we don't want to see a teaching scene. Hey, show me how you did that dance. Well, you do this. This? Yeah, kind of like this. Is it like this? Oh, no. Show me how you do that dance. Allison, I think you remember exactly how we dance. Oh, it's you, Todd. Now you got a scene. So, it's these little things. One last thing I'll say is that I don't know how many of you have ever driven a stick shift, a standard shift car. But who has? Who has driven a stick shift? Okay, manual. Okay, what's the hardest part of driving a stick shift? First gear. Getting the car from stationary to moving. That's the tricky part. Once the car's moving, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear, sixth, anybody can do that. You can do it without the clutch. First gear, getting it moving is the hard part, and that's the truth about improv scenes. Getting it moving is the hard part. That's what we work on. The randomness, the chaos, all the other little tricks you can do just to get it moving. Once it gets moving, it takes you where it's going to go. But not until you get it moving. Any other thoughts? And then we'll start doing stuff?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, really enjoying this. As far as starting in the middle, in addition to knowing someone for at least 6 months, so I'm wondering if you have other tips for starting a scene in the middle.
Well, one of the tips is what I'm saying, which is randomness. Is just make the assumption. One tip is don't let anyone sir or ma'am you. Just don't let it happen. It will happen, especially to women. You'll get a lot of ma'am. You're always going to be a salesperson. You're always going to be a nurse at a hospital, in an emergency room, or whatever. Don't let it happen. Just strike up a relationship. Remind someone that there's a relationship. When we say scenes start in the middle, what we're doing in improv is less like a play and more like a movie, because it has edits that you have in movies that you don't really have in plays. It has close-ups, it has split screens, it has jump cuts, it has fade-ins and fade-outs and all that stuff. It's more movie-like than play-like. So what happens in a movie? What happens in a movie is you shoot a bunch of film, and then some editor comes along and says, "Okay, Let's take the part right where the car hits the garage. And we'll throw out everything before that. And then we'll get the part right where the explosion happens. And then here's the part where she runs out the front door to see what's wrong. And great. So we cut out all the preliminary shit. It all winds up on the floor. Except you can't do that in improv. You can't go back and cut things out. So don't put them there in the first place. Just put the stuff in that would wind up in the final cut of the damn movie. And it's not, how you doing? How you doing? I don't know. What about you? What's your name? Ah. Who'd go to that movie? Except maybe When Harry Met Sally. I don't know. Maybe that's an exception. I don't know. So yeah, that's a tip. The randomness thing is a tip. Just be random. Just don't be afraid. And just listen to what someone's doing and just react. Once the random stuff starts happening, your reactions won't necessarily be random. Your reactions will be like a person. And that's all we're doing. Because, as I've also said 1,000 times, there's only one funny thing in the entire universe. It's just one. And it's people. Humans. Nothing else is funny. If you think dogs and cats are funny, they're only funny when they act like humans. If you think some other thing out there is funny, it's only funny in that it affects humans. The Grand Canyon is not a big laugh. Sorry. It's a big hole, but it's not a big laugh. So if you're looking for funny, if you're looking for interesting, just be human. Good enough, really. It's not hard. The hardest thing about doing things this way, which a lot of people are doing, the hardest part about doing it this way is forgetting all that other extraneous crap and just doing these things. And they work. So any other thoughts? And then I swear that's it. We'll dive in. It's I'm pushing, but...
One last one. So we do something, and then we feel something, and then from there we unpack the relationship as well. So the idea of the characters and the relationships only come in at that point. Is that right?
That is not wrong. I mean, that's usually the way it happens. I mean, you can think ahead of time.
Yeah.
And think, okay, I'm going to go in, okay, let's go in, and you walk into the stage, and you think, okay, he's my husband, and we're looking for paint to paint the living room to see what color we want. Okay, and his name is Ted, and my name is Angela. And then he opens his mouth and says something about fixing the docking port on the International Space Station, Natasha. That's all gone now. Forget that. Your idea's gone. The relationship you thought it was isn't. So why have it in your head in the first place if you're only going to have to throw it out? So have it, but have it as your plan B. Have it, but get ready to be surprised that it's something else. Because this happens all the time. I just did some shows tonight. Walk out on the stage with a guy I know very well, and I said something, and he did something that was totally not what I was expecting. I thought a little bit that we're in an airplane. It turned out we were in the desert. And good. Luckily, I didn't do anything airplane-like, so it didn't ruin anything. I had to, good. Shift gears. So yeah. You can't think of your name ahead of time and know that it's going to be that. Can't even think of your gender ahead of time. Half the time I'm on stage, I play a woman. 50% of the time. I don't know. No reason. The one thing you can stand on the back line and carry into a scene is your point of view. You can carry that into a scene, and no one can take that away from you. So if you're a jealous person, you can be a jealous astronaut or a jealous salesperson or a jealous race car driver. If you're if you love guns, you could be a Boy Scout leader who loves guns or a chef who loves guns. So your point of view works with anything if you need that. If you need that. But anything else you can't really count on keeping when you walk into scenes. Yeah, you're probably gonna, have to throw it out and figure this stuff out together. Okay, so let's start doing some stuff. The first thing is I'm going to have us work on scene dynamics. We'll do short little scenes, and I will prompt you using little banners, very simply. And the scene dynamics, what I mean by that is louder, softer. That's one set of dynamics. So the first two people, I'm going to prompt that. I'm going to, for no reason, prompt you to be louder or softer throughout your scene. That's all I'm going to do. Are you ready? Okay. I usually just go from the top there. So we've got Ella and Chris. So you guys start. I'll put everybody else in the down in the green room. You can hear and see. I'll get rid of me too, and I'll get rid of the names so you're not tempted to use them in the scene. So, a grounded scene. Pay attention to one another. Do not come into this with an idea, because that will block you from responding. And then I will give you quick little prompts and just do them. That's all. Okay?
Okay.
Let me get out of your damn way. There. Go.
No,
Oh my gosh! My painting is talking?
I'm glad I'm not the only one seeing it, Margaret, because I was looking at your easel. I was looking at your painting, and I mean, I saw the frog's mouth moving, and I thought, is it me? But no, it's talking.
It is. It is. You know what? I thought I was the only one who could see this, and apparently you can see it too, Margaret. Margaret too.
Hey, everyone, yeah, come around. You have to see Margaret's. Get over here.
No, guys. Oh my God, no, guys. Should I paint another frog?
Yeah, goodness.
Yeah, totally.
Magic created
right?
once. Yes, must be created.
Who doesn't want
Yes.
magic, right? Oh my gosh. But are you sure this is the right thing to do? I mean, I'm afraid that maybe I'll get famous out of it. I mean, this weasel, this paintbrush is magical. You think it's gonna make me famous?
Margaret, I am begging for you to see your worth. You are creating such majestic beauty here. The world needs to see it.
But Margaret too. I'm just saying, maybe I don't know, because maybe I'll get famous and people are gonna. Maybe they're gonna the paparazzis. You know, I'm gonna be famous. Oh my gosh, and people will know me for being crazy. I don't like that, Margaret too. I don't like that. Maybe that's what's gonna happen, and maybe I'm gonna be on the newspapers and all over the internet, and they're gonna think I'm crazy, Margaret too.
So let them think. Let them develop rumors. Let them paint some story about who you are. Because you know what? Who cares? I know who you are, and you know who you are.
famous. I don't want to be famous, Margaret, too. I just want to enjoy these things on my own. I'm an introvert. Remember. So don't call the people. Okay? Don't let them know. But I have a magic brush. Don't let them know. Alright.
All that I know is that the greatest figures in the world, some of them introverts, some of them hermits, need to be known.
But not everyone needs to be known. Margaret, too. I said I'm okay on being on my own. I don't want people looking at my Twitter account and checking every tweet that I send there. I don't want people to see my Facebook account and check every post that I upload. This paintbrush, this magic paintbrush is mine. Maybe people will get interested in getting my magic paintbrush.
You know, I hear you. So I'm just covering the painting because the only way for you to maintain privacy is for the world to not know of your greatness.
That's scene. Cool. Scene. Thank you. Nice job. Okay. We'll talk later. We'll move on. So, Bay and Anish. Here's the dynamic I'm going to ask you to work with. It will be talking, responding more quickly, or responding in a normal way. Hi, how you doing? Okay. Quickly. Hi, how you doing? Okay. Or responding slowly. Hi, how you doing? Okay. Or over talking. I will ask you to either over talk or respond slowly or respond very quickly, which means you won't have time to think about stuff. The only tip I can give you for any improv scene, but especially for this one, is that this is like ping pong. Less is more. Short sentences without commas and ellipses and stuff, just short sentences with exclamation points or periods are much better than long-winded dialogue. Unless at some point you think, you know what, we've done a lot of short sentences, now a long-winded thing would be a nice contrast. But generally, it's ping pong. Bang, 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 bang. So we'll do that, and I will give you those prompts and just do the thing. All right, you ready? I'll get rid of the rest of us. And go ahead.
This is just a test shot, right?
Yes, this is a test shot.
You know how important makeup is to me, and I don't have any on right now.
Julia, could you please smile a bit? Thank you.
Brad, only if you promise you won't show this to anyone else.
I will not show this. This is for my collection.
Okay, that's enough.
What do you mean that's enough?
I mean,
We need to get more.
no, I think let's take a break. I
All
need
right.
to see that.
We're going to take. Okay, we're going to take a break. You're going to look at the camera. Okay, here, get it.
Okay.
Take a look at the
All right.
pictures. Come on. Now, what do you see?
I see angles that are awful. I need you to.
What? What do you mean by you need to? Come
I
on,
need
Julia.
you to
Come on, tell me.
look and see and
To look
understand
what?
that I'm a
See
person
what?
that
Understand
wants to
what?
be
Can't you
seen.
understand my? Can't you understand what I'm doing to you? What I'm capturing to you? I'm capturing your beauty. I'm capturing, Julia. Come on.
I don't see that beauty. All I see is these things that are
No, Julia,
you're
that's
taking
you.
all
That's
the
you in
most
the picture.
my biggest
That's how I
flaws and
see you.
just
That's how
highlighting it
perfectly
to the
you are to
world.
me, Julia.
I
Come
mean,
on.
I appreciate that you see beauty where I don't.
Thank you. Thank you that you appreciate it, Julia. But can we just be done with this?
Can you
Please?
meet me halfway? I mean,
Come
can
on,
you?
Julia. Here we go again. You always talk about meet halfway, compromise. What do you want me to do? Come
I
on.
want you to look at things properly
Do
from like
what?
my
Look at
point of
what?
view, just for a
Your
split
point of view,
second.
I'm
If
looking
you
at your
look
point
at
of view.
it,
I'm getting what you want to do. But you know what? How
you
about
don't.
me? How about
Yeah,
my
no.
idea?
I
How
will.
about what I want to see?
I
Julia, come on.
promise. If you
You
take
promise
on my
what?
perspective, even just for a short while, then we can meet each
I
other
am
halfway.
actually taking into consideration of your
Are
perspective, but
you
how about
really? Because looking
mine?
at all these photos, they seem to be completely gratifying your point of view
The
and not
photos are
mine
beautiful.
at
The
all.
photos are great, Julia. Don't you
To you,
appreciate them? It's you.
but they are
To me,
damaging
huh?
to me.
Okay, come on. Let me. Okay, let me hear you so that I could understand.
Every time I
Look at
see
the
those
photos.
shots, I just feel worse about myself. And it's getting harder to breathe.
Julia, I am really sorry to hear about that.
You
You
know,
you didn't tell me anything about it.
you're important to me, and I know how much photography means to you.
And it's not just photography that is important to me. You
I
as
know
well.
I am important to you. And that's why
Julia, you know what? I understand that, you know, saying this to me is really important to you, really matters. But for me, Julia, photography is my life. I know that you're important to me as well, but photography is my life, my entire life, Julia. But
I'm
I
not
know
the
that you're also
only
important to
person
me.
that you can take photos of.
Oh, come on, Julia. You are the only person in my photography collection. And now you're telling me that.
Okay, what if I paid you to take photos of other people?
Now you're telling me to be paid for my passion? But I
Is that
love it.
wrong?
I love what
How
I'm
is that
doing,
wrong?
Julia.
I would love to be paid for my passion. How is
Oh, come
this?
on, Julia. You know, you're only thinking about yourself. I'm considering of, every possibilities, but you're so selfish, Julia. You're not considering my emotions. You're not considering my love for you. I'm doing this everything. I'm sacrificing everything for you, Julia. But look what's happening to us now. I love
Is
you.
it?
You're everything to me. But my love for photography? Oh, come on, Julia.
Okay.
Yay!
Me, Shari. Okay.
Okay. All right. So, um, good. Any thoughts before we move on?
Loved it. I believed you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the whole thing. There were some lines that really like hit me, Nisha, when you said like something like, I can hardly breathe. And you were talking about like how you feel when you see photos of yourself. And I was like, oh my God. It was great. It was really, really great. And like, it felt like the two of you had known each other for like 30 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was I was supposed to say. The connection is really there.
Yeah.
It's really believable.
Mm-hmm.
I think something I was surprised by was how effective and enjoyable the overtalk sections were, because overtalking does happen a lot in like jams and one-on-one classes and stuff, and it's like not fun, but I liked it here.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about over talking, and it's the same with a lot of other things. When we're doing improv, it's not a TED talk. We're not imparting useful, vital, verbal information to the audience. I've heard people say, "Well, you can't understand what they're each saying." You can certainly understand what they're both feeling, and you can understand what they're saying. Yes, if you do it intentionally, sure. If you're the jerk who just in every scene you jump in and you talk over somebody, well, that's then you're not using it as a technique. You're just a jerk. But there's no reason not to do it. It's a useful tool, and it really does. Scenes, we're always worried about energy in scenes. How do you keep a scene going? Why don't two people who are either disagreeing or not sure about, why don't they just leave? Why does the scene keep going? So something is keeping them there. So you have to keep pushing energy, doing things that generate energy in the scene. Randomness generates energy. Responses generate energy. Dynamic shifts of nearer, farther, softer, louder, quicker, slower. They generate energy. It's literally like, not literally, but it's figuratively like pumping energy into a scene every time you do a thing like that. And when you do, you've just bought yourself another 2 minutes of scene time that you don't have to worry about. Oh my God, what do we say next? So you want that. One way to do it is to vary the gaps. I talk about gaps, physical gaps on stage. Two people talking, suddenly one of them walks all the way over here. Why? No reason. For now, in a microsecond, there'll be a reason. This person now has to either close the gap or feel left out or feel abandoned or whatever. Who knows? And then there are verbal gaps. Hey, Joanne, would you go to the prom with me? Sure. Hey, Joanne, would you go to the prom with me? Sure. Hey, Joanne, would you go? Sure. So the same words each time, but they have different meanings completely because of the gap between when you said them and when the next person spoke, which is a good reason to do ping pong, which is a good reason to do shorter things so that people can interject these little things. But yeah, over talking, why the hell not? There's all kinds of things you can do. They tell you not to ask questions in a scene. There's no damn reason for that. None. No reason. Why can't you ask questions? Tell me. In a scene. What's the rationale?
Well, something I've heard is that it is more supportive to make a choice.
Supportive.
Yeah, I heard that
What-
it's putting a burden and conferring a burden onto the other character.
I know.
But
Everyone's heard that. Everyone
But-
has heard that. Everyone's been taught that. It's just bullshit.
But in real life, right, when you are interested, you generally ask more questions.
But yes, that is true. But it's better to make a choice. My choice was to ask a question. Well, what? That doesn't impart any information to the audience. What information? What information are we giving the audience? A weather forecast? I mean, what are we telling the audience? We're telling them that I'm a person who asks questions. You don't have to answer a question. That's the problem. You don't have to answer it. It's the answer that's the problem. It's feeling like you've got to answer it that distracts you. Oh, I thought I was going to do a scene, but now I've got to answer all this idiot's questions. You don't have to answer this idiot's questions. You got your own shit. You can answer them if you want. You can ask your own. People ask questions. It tells you something about the people. If I keep asking questions of you in a scene, that tells you something about our relationship, more than anything I could say verbally. So it's such a narrow-minded 20th century way of looking at this shit. And that's what's happening. People are teaching 1970s stuff in 2021. And it's just, it turns out it turns out it's extraneous. You know. I'll say it again. I'm sorry, but this. Yeah. Right. Yes. On the left, sun's at the center of the solar system. On the right, Earth's at the center. On the right, that's what we used to believe. And it worked. It worked fine. It predicted everything. It's just, look at what nonsense it is. Look how simple the left is, heliocentrism. And so eventually we got rid of that thing on the right. And it's the same thing with improv. You can do prehistoric improv. Don't ask questions. Don't overtalk. Don't turn your back to the audience. Or you can do modern improv, which is not bad. But of course, the people who were pushing geocentrism for centuries were very resistant to the idea that the sun was at the center of the universe. Just as now, people are very resistant to this. They've been teaching this stuff forever. They don't want to be told that the stuff they've been teaching and learning is not really valuable. So we keep doing 1970s improv over and over and over and over again. It's not just me. There's a lot of people on this other bandwagon saying, screw this. Enough. Let's take another look at this. This is not necessary. And it's much simpler. That's the best way. That's the best thing you can do for improvisers. Make it easy. Make it easy. It becomes consistent. Anything else from those scenes? No, nothing. There was some
Well, if you, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on fights.
Oh,
So I know, like in the 1970s, prehistoric improv teaching, we'll hear, "Don't fight,
fight meaning arguments.
don't argue."
Well, I wouldn't say don't argue any at all ever. But I will tell you this, two things. I did this experiment with my class a couple of times, and with my troupe. I had us do an entire night of rehearsal where in every scene, the two people in the scene were on the same side. They liked each other, loved each other, whatever. There would be conflicts coming up. Where'd you put the remote? I thought you had the remote. That kind of stuff. But not, you're the worst blah, blah, blah ever. No, you are. No, well, you have to leave. Well, that's it. I'm throwing you out of the apartment. That stuff. We said no to that stuff. We said you're on the same side and you like each other. Things might not be going very well right now, but you're on the same side. And everyone agreed at the end that it was so much better. The stuff we were doing was so much better. It's just, and I had, and then we did full narratives, 25-minute, 30-minute narratives, where every scene, everyone was on the same side. There was no bickering. Brilliant. I just wanted to show that, yeah. But we're taught not to do that because we've grown up, at least I have, on shitty sitcoms where that's what it's all about. Chopping each other down, chopping each other down, chopping each other down. When's the last time you saw a sitcom where they were building each other up? I've never seen it. So I'm not saying that that's the only way to do it, never bicker. I'm just saying that the other thing works too. And just think about it when you're on the stage. Think about what it's like to be sitting in the back seat of a car on a 50-mile trip where the people in the front are bickering the entire time. You just want to jump out of a moving car eventually. It goes nowhere. It just spirals itself into the ground. It builds nothing. So every once in a while, sure, you do need to have arguments. It can even get physical. But, so I won't say don't, but I think the best conflict is internal conflict. I think the best argument is when a person has an argument within themselves, when it's clear that what they're saying isn't really what they believe. What they're doing isn't what they want to be doing. They're not at peace. That's just as good a conflict as a conflict between two people. So you can do it. I wouldn't do any one thing a lot. But that especially, that's pretty caustic. So yeah, do it every once in a while. But if you're going to do it, do it. If you're going to do it, really argue. I had a guy shove me over a chair once. Fine. But, that's my take.
I hope you were okay.
Well, the audience laughed, so it doesn't really matter, does it? Yeah, I was fine. He was huge. He was huge. And I gave him a little push, Next thing I know, boom! And but it was funny. Grounded. I was certainly grounded. Anything else? No.
How would you have recrafted? Go ahead, Byron.
No, please go ahead, Nish.
How would you have recrafted our scene then? Because our scene had a bit of like that conflict.
I wouldn't have touched it. I loved it. Was it fighting though? You were. I mean, he's telling you he loves you.
Yeah.
And you care about him, and it's a miscommunication, and it's a misunderstanding. It's you're standing up for yourself, and he's standing up for himself, and it's this reaching out and trying to understand each other, and slightly missing. I wouldn't touch that at all. That wasn't really fighting. There was a little bit of conflict in the middle, but I wouldn't call that fighting. Standing up for yourself isn't necessarily fighting. Yeah, and my suggestion at the end of that was for him to try to make it better, but make it worse. I know that you have a hard time breathing when you look at photos of yourself. I've ordered oxygen. It should be here soon. So, so come on, chop, chop. Time is money, you know. So, because I care for you. Oxygen, it's not cheap. So yeah, always try to make it worse. Always make it worse. Try to make it better. Try, but your better makes it worse. Good. Any other thoughts? And we'll go around the circle. I'll do the thing I usually do, which is I do a scene with each person and we just have some fun. All right, let's do that. I'll go around the horn here. Nish, you're the first one up right next to me. So we'll start there and we'll work our way around. Anything else that you need to know? Oh yeah, just a couple of little quick tools. Specificity is nice to have. Be specific when you can. I said Ethan Hawke the other night. I could have just said, boy, that actor is pretty good. But I said Ethan Hawke. I'm not just going to the store. I'm going to name a store. I left my gloves in the car. No, I left my gloves in the Chevy, or I left my gloves in the Toyota, or the Camry, or the whatever the fuck. Be specific. The more specific things you can throw in, the more shiny objects there are floating around for you to grab onto later. It adds depth. So specificity. Repetition is huge. Huge. Repeat yourself. Repeat other people. Just because someone says something, that doesn't mean it's taken. You can say it too. The more you repeat something, the better it is in comedy. That's it. So use those things. Here we go. Let me get the names gone, and we will start from there. Here we are. Ready? Go. I didn't realize you were allergic to pineapples.
And that's exactly why I don't eat pizza.
Pizza. Okay. You know that triggers me. Mandy, you know that triggers me. You know how I feel about putting pineapple on pizza, okay? You know that, right? Okay?
I'm on your side.
You're on my side. You're on my side. I mentioned pineapples because I care about you, and you bring up pizza at the same time as pineapples like they belong together? Why not put bubblegum on pizza? That's nice. Like the Italians do. No, it's not a good idea.
It could be a viral video. Rob, you take things too seriously. I'm just the one who had an allergic reaction,
Yes.
stuck an EpiPen in myself, and we're good.
We can't just... I'm sorry. I every time we go out, you're sticking an EpiPen in yourself. It's like going out with an extremely healthy heroin addict. It's like somebody's always...
Okay, I will be more careful. Alright? I will
Okay. Because
bring my own food, maybe.
I know, because it hurts me when this happens to you. It hurts me. It's not happening to you. It's happening to me.
I understand that. It's just when I'm on holiday, I kind of really want to
I know.
live a little.
I know, but your living is going to make you die.
Okay.
You know? I mean,
Fair point.
I love you, and you can't stick an EpiPen in my heart. You know? One of these days it's going to get worse.
Okay. I hear you.
Okay.
And
Just saying, you know.
all right. So I will limit it. I will make sure that
Yes.
maybe I only use an EpiPen once a week.
Well,
You know.
you shouldn't
Well,
have to
knowing-
use an EpiPen at all. At all. I don't use an EpiPen. I don't
You
even
don't
know
have
where you
allergies.
get one. What?
You don't have any allergies.
I don't have allergies? How do you
Well,
know?
you do.
Maybe I just man up. Maybe I just man up. Maybe I just fight it off.
How do you fight off a swelling in your throat? That is the question of the day.
You just clench. You just clench your face. I think. I don't know.
Then it's harder to breathe. It doesn't make sense at all. Okay, what I can do is slowly start introducing some of the things I'm allergic to. And like
You mean like to
small-
desensitize yourself? Desensitizing?
Yeah, try.
Okay.
You could try that. I mean, most people say it doesn't work.
Okay, wait a minute. Does this mean you're going to slowly start introducing tiny little pieces of pineapple onto my pizza? Because I don't want to be desensitized, okay? It doesn't belong there.
Okay.
It
I know
doesn't
how you
belong
feel
there.
about pizzas. So let's leave the pizzas.
Just leave the pizza. That's what I wish everybody would do. Just leave the pizza. Keep the goddamn pineapple off of it. That's all I'm saying. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm making
Well-
I'm making it about me. I'm making it about me. You almost died. I'm sorry. I'm making it about me.
Yet, if anyone were to look at us talking right now, they would never guess
What?
that I was about to die 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, I know. I know. That's how good I am at covering up grief.
So, how about we spend the night in and we cook
Cook.
tonight?
Okay. Cook. We cook.
Cook sounds safer. We know exactly what's inside.
Exactly.
And we won't have
Exactly.
any problems.
I'm glad. Because every time you use an EpiPen, it kills me a little bit inside. It makes me feel like I'm going out with a broken person.
I wish you had told me this a little earlier. You know, I wouldn't have done it so much if I knew it affected you this much.
Hey, if you need it, you need it. I'm just asking you to stop needing it.
I get it. I hear you. So next time
Yeah, next time.
something bothers you
I'll just say it.
this much,
I'll
tell
just-
me
I
early.
will. Yeah. Yeah. Because I don't want you to ever have an allergic reaction to me.
Yeah.
See? Okay, who is up? I believe Chris, I think. Okay, you there?
Yes.
Let's go.
Yeah. Guinness was great for a second round. Good choice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, yeah. Oh. Getting it stout there. Yeah. Yeah, it's good for your heart. You know, Guinness, it's good for your heart.
You don't say.
It's got iron. It's got iron in it.
Huh.
It's like drinking spinach.
You know, Sammy, I feel like out of all my friends, you're the one who, looks out for me the most, you know?
I'll drink to that. I'll drink to that. And I love how the foam is always exactly that high. It's so cool.
They do a good pour here. That's why it's our place.
Oh yeah, and they do the little fern thing on the top or whatever that is, the design.
I appreciate that. It's like
Yeah.
we immediately destroy it, but it's beautiful for a moment.
I know. Well, we destroy lots of plant life.
I know. I mean, look, we work really hard,
We do. Show me 2 harder working school bus drivers.
We're
That's
the
all-
only two.
It's almost time to pick the little suckers up, too.
We've treated ourselves right today.
I say we get another round. Another round. Pretty soon we'll be back in that damn bus.
You're right, Sammy. You're so. I mean, look. We grew up together.
Yeah.
We had big dreams.
Biggest.
And it's like, just being who we are, living where we live. This is the kind of town nobody gets out of. And like the only way people survive is through finding each other.
And getting on a bus and driving.
The freedom of...
Have a Guinness, have another Guinness, and get on that bus. That should be a t-shirt.
I love that idea. Oh,
Yeah,
goodness.
me too.
You know what? I bet we get a third grader to make a shirt for us.
I say we get a third grader to bring us some Guinness on the bus.
Sammy, you're bad. You're lucky you've been at this for like 18 years now.
How many?
You cannot be fired.
How many bad accidents have I had?
Oh, so here's the thing about your accidents, though.
Well,
They look dramatic. It's like you normally... I mean, I remember when you went into the telephone pole on Gloucester.
yeah.
The front of the bus all banged up. I mean, you were there. You were there.
Was I there? Was I there? Because they told me about it. It's good. I hated that pole. It must have been subconscious. Hated that pole.
You're an
now.
emotional guy, and I mean that in the best way.
Hey, what better way is there to be than emotional?
Look, I mean,
we're not praying mantises. Praying mantises aren't emotional. You want to be a praying mantis, or you want to be a person?
no. I was as affected by you in our 4th grade science presentation on praying mantises. The last thing I want to be is a praying mantis.
Here's your next round. Here, I got it. There you go. There you go. There you go. Okay. Down the hatch.
All right.
And
Still
let's
have
pick
a
up
little
them.
left.
Those goddamn kids. It's all downhill from here.
Oh, Sammy.
Scene. Okay. You're up. What? Still bothering you?
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you noticed that.
Well, I mean, it's like a constant. It's like constant. You just can't seem to get free from it.
I what can I do? It's a big part of me that I just can't get over it. I just can't get over it like that. It's not that easy.
I know.
What should I do?
I don't know. Don't think about it.
What do you mean don't think
Don't
about
think
it?
about it. Just don't think
No,
about
I
it.
can't. I'm just not like that. I
I
don't
know,
just
but be
let
like
go of
that,
things
know?
like that.
Be like that. I know. Gee. Sign up for an acting class.
You think that's
No.
gonna help me?
Listen. Sign up for an acting class. Become a good actor. And then act like someone who isn't thinking about it.
But Joshua, I love that onion. That onion is the shiniest onion I've ever seen in my entire life. I just
But-
can't let go of that idea.
I
in
know
my
that,
mind.
but it's not. I know it, but it's not going to make you happy. The only way to enjoy an onion is to eat it.
But why can't you just find me another onion the same as that onion?
You
that
know
shiny
damn well
onion.
it wouldn't be the same. Remember when I hit the dog with the car and got you a different one that looked similar? And what you said? That's what's going to happen if I got you another
Because they're
onion.
entirely different. It's not as shiny as that specific onion that I saw in Florida. Now that we're in Missouri, I just can't get over Florida
I know, but
because the best onions are there.
it will live on in your memory. Don't you understand that?
I can still smell
I know.
that onion.
I know. I can know.
There's
And
just no
we
other
never
onion
we
like
never
that.
cut it open. We never cut it open. We never cried over that onion together.
Maybe we should just go back to Florida. What do you think?
I'm up for it. I know where the onion is. I remember where we put it.
Oh, you do?
Oh yeah.
Then
Oh,
why did
yeah.
you just say so? Why did you just go back to that?
That's a long way to go.
Market.
I don't. Hey, if it's gonna get you out of that, it's probably cheaper than an acting class. You know, we'll go back. I know where the onion is. It's still in that little drawer in that Airbnb. No one took it out. We're going back.
That's the best thing ever.
I know.
That's the best anniversary ever.
You're welcome. You need to decide.
I know.
You need to make a
I know.
decision.
Do you have a light? Can I have a light first?
Yeah, of course. Here you go. There you go.
The other side.
Yeah. Yeah, got it.
John,
So,
John, why did you? Why did you do it? Why did you do that?
I had to. I was left with no choice.
What do you mean you had to?
I had to. You know, if you look at the window when it's raining outside, and you see like a drop of rain on the window, and it goes down, and then it goes that way, then it goes that way. You can't say to the drop, "Why'd you go that way? Why didn't you go this way?" It had a path, and it was gonna go that way no matter what.
You know what?
That's what I did. I just followed my way down that window pane, man.
That's perfect, John.
You think?
Following the path of the water, of the droplets
Yeah.
in the window,
Yeah.
from
That's it.
that place, going there and
Yeah.
there. Oh my God,
Right?
that's so perfect.
It's the path of least resistance.
That's right. Resistance.
It's the laziest thing I could possibly do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't no conscious thought. I just went this way and that way and then did that thing, and now you have to make a decision. I already made mine. Well,
Another
fate
light,
made
another
mine.
light.
Fate made mine. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Ooh.
You know what?
No.
It's fate.
Fate.
Made you. Yeah. Fate made you like you. And me? I'm a total useless.
Yes,
I
but
am a total.
Yes, yes,
Useless.
yes, yes. You're a raindrop. You're a raindrop that missed the window completely.
Okay.
You never even hit the window.
Um,
You hit a
John.
tree or something. I don't know.
Okay, I'm a raindrop. I'm a raindrop.
You're,
I'm a
you're a
small
raindrop.
raindrop that missed the
Small.
window. Is the
You missed the
window, yeah,
window.
yeah, small. Is the window sliding window or is it,
Yes,
made out of
yes. No, it's
grills?
a sliding window. Yes.
Ah, okay. Okay. All
Because
right,
I
all
mean,
right.
so you haven't evaporated, so you still could hit a window.
Okay.
What are you gonna do
Now,
when you hit the window? That's what I'm saying. Make a decision.
okay. If I'm going
If
to hit the window
hit the window.
and turn it into pieces,
Yes, yes.
I'm going to slice my wrist. I love it. I want to be on the other side, John. Come on, John. Come on.
Okay.
Because that's the fate. That's the
Okay.
fate
I
that we're
get it. I
talking
get
about,
it.
right?
Okay. I get
Right?
it. Yes, it is. But if that's what you're gonna do, I'm first. I'm gonna need my. I'm gonna need my lighter back. If that's what you're gonna
Okay.
do. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Cause
Here's your light. But
uh,
you're going to join me. You're going to
I'm. I,
join
I'm.
me.
I'm. No, I've already hit the bottom of the window. I'm fine. I'm
All right.
evaporating. I'm fine. Ooh, look, another raindrop. Look at that, son of a bitch.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
see.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know,
I
John.
know,
I
I
don't know.
know.
I don't know what's going on with me, John.
Just decide. Chinese food or Japanese food. Just decide for God's sake.
All right. Uh, I'm seeing both Japanese and what's the other one again?
It could be Chinese, could be Chinese, could doesn't have to be. Could be Thai,
Japanese.
could be Thai. Can we
Okay,
just
okay.
pick up?
I'm
Can we
going
just pick
to.
a goddamn restaurant?
All right, here we go. Um, Korean. I'll take Korean. I'll take Korean. Korean.
And they duck again, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Beep
We're
and
good.
bop again, huh? Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
That's our dinner.
All right. God damn, I hate you.
All right.
Okay. So that was fun. Any thoughts, anybody? Just wrap up.
Can you just say, can you just say something?
Now,
I don't know what's going on. Like, and then it turned out at the end, it's like choosing between, Japanese or Korean and or some Thai, but I didn't choose any for the sake of like, okay, whatever. But it was fun. Oh my God, thank you.
yeah. Well, like I said, all random, all of it. It's from the first beginning to the first half, completely random. We didn't know what we were talking about, but it didn't matter. Eventually, we would. It was, that's the way it works. Nobody who saw us do that on a stage would think we had no idea. So, anything else? Anybody?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll just say that I have really enjoyed watching every single person's scene work.
Yeah.
If you all were to tell me that you've been improvising for like 20 years, I would believe you. It's like really, really great stuff. Really impressed.
Okay. So let's do the thing that I'd like to do quickly. So we've already sort of half done it, but let's do it. We'll start here with Bay. Bye. Sorry. So just anything, and like a little takeaway circle. Anything that you saw, thought, heard, liked, and like.
Well, my takeaway for today's exercises are one, actually just be in the moment and support your co-actor, because really no one knows what will happen. Like when I was with Nish and I was with Tom, like I just went with the flow. and just be in the moment and then be spontaneous, but not overthinking. Because really, I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I'm creating a character for myself, but I didn't know because Nish and Tom were very helpful to me. Like they helped my character to be who I was, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a very good, I think, team up with improv. Like you're not doing just for yourself, but you're doing it
Right.
also for your co-actor. And whatever happens, happens. And
Yeah.
yeah, so that's it, I guess. So
Yes.
just live in the moment.
Yes. As your scene partner, I'm partly responsible for helping create your character, and you mine. So you're never in it alone. Okay, Ella, what do you got?
I'm just really grateful. And with my scene with you, I was just, thinking of random things, whatever comes into my mind. Just throw it, throw it just as it is. And it's really a delight watching each of you. I'm really, really happy that I joined today's workshop. I'm so grateful. You're all delightful to watch. Thank
Hey,
you.
thank you, Chris. Anything?
Oh yeah, totally. So I am definitely going to practice more with playing with scene dynamics. I really like that a lot. I like thinking about dynamic shifts and like generating energy, physical gaps on stage. I want to play with that, and I also with the teams I'm on, I'd like to practice over talking with them so that we can have that as part of like our shared language. And
Yeah.
also, I've heard specificity a lot, and I feel like I haven't heard repetition talked about so much, even though as soon as you said it, it sounded like the most obvious thing in the world. So
Yeah.
I'm going to practice that more too.
Yeah. There's a Meisner exercise just for that. It's really cool. I do it with students all the time. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, the scene dynamics, it does the things that you saw. It also that's A. B, it gets you out of your head because you don't have to think about it. You don't have to use the creative part of your brain to make these choices. You can just say to yourself, I'm walking away, as opposed to, what's this scene about? How do I move this scene forward? You don't have to move the scene forward. Just move yourself forward. Eventually, you'll catch on to what the scene's been about the whole time. But it makes it easier. It's less worrying. Nish, what do you got?
Yeah, I loved that playing with all the dynamics. It's definitely something I do want to integrate into my scenes more. What I didn't get to really do too much, I know we did a little bit of it, was to put these objects out and later try to bring it back in. I know we did that with a bit with the pineapples. I really want to start like inserting that into my scenes more.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Bay started by asking for my lighter,
yeah,
which
and fidgeting before that. So
yeah.
that was so
So I knew
very
I knew that later on I would have to mention a lighter in some context or whatever. So because it's there, it would be a waste not to put it there. Again,
yeah, it was very exciting to see how everyone had um, integrated different bits of what we talked about today into their scenes.
yeah,
So
yeah. You're never going to put all of it in a scene.
in
It
one go.
just of course not.
Yeah.
But it's not. And the other thing quickly is that if you're doing these kinds of things and your scene partner is oblivious to it and doesn't do that sort of thing,
Yeah.
mostly, okay, so your scene's going to be half better. If they don't know why you're walking away or talking louder or over talking or repeating stuff or any of the other stuff, okay, it would be better if they did. But if they don't, you can still do this. So you can do this with anyone, it still works. No, other people don't have to be in on the secret, you know. So that's it. That's all I got. So that's it. Thank you guys for doing it. Have fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye bye.